The Clashing Conferences Podcast. Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Clashing Conferences Network. We are the NFC East podcast version, wrapping up here with our last show of the year after the Super Bowl. Big congratulations to Greg, who crushed it this year on this show. The team wins the Super Bowl. He wins the regular season internal competition. He wins the postseason internal competition. That's a clean sweep that I don't think we have seen on a Clashing Conferences podcast yet before.
No way.
Anybody wants to try to match Greg's feat, you can do that very easily. All you got to do is go to theclashingconferences.com, fill out a little form there. You join the show, or you join the network. You join a show. It's that easy. You get on here and rep your team. We're looking for people. We're growing. We got a bunch of new people already this year in 2025. Looking forward to joining a brand new person on the member show that records later tonight and drops, I believe, on Saturday. So check that out. He is a Mets fan, I hear. So welcome all Mets and Grimace fans. So that's enough New York talk. We're sure we'll sprinkle a little bit more in when Chris gets up here. But Greg, man, you got a lot to be happy about and cheer and celebrate.
Yes,
what you
sir.
got for us?
Yes,
play
sir.
Your song?
No, I'm not going to play my song tonight. I'm up at Hershey. I'm up at Hershey, so got a little different setup. Right. So I don't have a laptop. I just have my phone. So, first, Randy, thank you for being the gracious guy you were, Randy, and going with Kansas and not using your brain.
Yeah,
going the other way.
What happened?
I knew you should have, but you didn't. He's a man, Chris, a man of conviction, and I honor that.
I honor it too. I like it.
That. Thank you. I mean,
it wasn't like he didn't know. He said he knew that he was doing what he was doing, and he went out on a limb. I support it.
So thank you, Randy. But yeah, what a hell of a year, man. It started off with us a little rocky, 2-2, and us getting together over our bye week, and Nick and the O-line getting together and saying, listen, we got to run the ball. We know Jalen can throw the ball. We know we got receivers. We know we got Goddard. We gotta get our D flying around, and we gotta run the ball. We gotta take some time of possession.
Did you just say you had your D flying around?
The last D was flying around, buddy. Yes, it was all year long. Good point out there. I like that, Paul. Thank you. Super Bowl was an excellent game. I thought we were going to win by double digits. I did not think it was going to go that way. I knew we were playing on a fast surface, and I knew our D-line is quick. I honestly think that we got to Patrick early. I think he hit his head. There was a couple of times when I saw him where I was like, looked over at my wife, and I was like, I think he's drunk, or maybe he's got a concussion. Something was going on there.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was the first sack of the game. But we ended up sacking him six times. Fangio had his D balling. Cooper had a pick 6 on his birthday. I think
Josh Sweat.
Sweat played well.
Your front four was ridiculous. They just overpowered them.
We did not blitz at all.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's why it was amazing how much pressure you got with just 4 guys.
Wow. He did. He's a monster.
Definitely didn't look sick. He was
in it, and it just goes to show, and I will take it. I love the win, but it just makes me think, man, if we were on a artificial surface 2 years ago, we could have won that game too. And I know you can't take back time, but man, that was crazy. Bright spots of the game, obviously defense. Offense looked really well. We got everyone involved. Barkley, we ran the ball. And that was one of the things that I thought was interesting is Andy Reid did not run the ball. Like, he didn't even try to run the ball. So we knew what was happening. And before you know it, we were up 24-0. And we were just bringing the dogs and just sending people. And that's why I think Fangio definitely outshined Andy Reid in that Super Bowl. So I'm really excited about that. The team overall, really excited. No, I am not going to the parade. I thought about that. I was like, waking up at 5 o'clock, getting on the R5 in Thorndale, going down to the city and just hanging out with 1.5 million people and not having a way to get home. Just something about that just did not appeal to me. So have fun down there, boys. I know you'll keep the city safe, so to speak. But I will have fun. I will have fun watching it from my office.
Yeah, they will tear that city off its hinges. I guarantee.
They will. And that's just what fans do, Chris. And this is what I don't think
fans. I wouldn't rip anything apart.
I think in New York you would. You did.
I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either. I
don't get it. And I don't get the whole.
This is what I was trying to explain on text today. Like, it's just a feeling. Like, you guys are out. Your teams are out of your market. So it's like when I go to the grocery store, I go to Wawa. Paul knows. Paul lives in his vicinity where
I see dumb people all the time. I've been seeing it all day.
It's not dumb. It's great where I can go to Wawa, pump gas, and have 10 people say, "Go Birds, go Birds, go Birds." It's beautiful.
Did you give all 10 of those people a Clash and Conferences business card?
No, I should have. I definitely should.
Man,
I got to start marketing that.
He should lose points for that.
He
needs to lose points for that.
There's one team that the New Orleans police said Phillies fans don't climb the poles here. Like, they didn't say that to the Kansas City fans. They said it to the Eagles fans. Like, there is something. Listen, you're right. Like, there's crazies in every team. The Eagles just have a higher percentage of nutballs.
You're just known for that stuff, man.
And that's why the city looks exactly like it would if you had lost.
We're ragging on you because you won.
True. Well, shout out to Patrick Mahomes' dad. He got in a fight with John Rocker Sunday night.
You're talking about John Rocker, the pitcher?
That's awesome. Dude, I saw the video today on
I
Barstool.
would.
John Rocker, the pitcher, and Patrick Mahomes Sr.
Pat Mahomes Sr. makes an appearance on Denny Diggs here in a little bit when he gets an opportunity, just to let you know. But I would take Pat Mahomes Sr. and John Rocker.
Good segue.
Doing anything. I don't care if it's friendly or not. That would be awesome.
They did not fight. It was a verbal altercation, and the dude in the video said,
"Do you have a video?"
No, it was on Barstool. He said, "Is that bleeping John Rocker?" I bet he looks awful.
I bet he
Holy shit.
He looks like one of us.
It was awesome.
All right.
Dude, he is stacked. John Rocker.
Speak for yourself.
Well, we're all the same now that Chris got fat, so.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
I didn't get fat. I'm not there yet. I'm not on your guys' level yet. I am trying, everybody.
To finish off the talk, I think the Super Bowl went great. The year went great. Flowers for everybody. Nick Sirianni is, in his 4 years of coaching, is 54-23, one of the highest winning percentages. He's been to 2 Super Bowls.
You remember when he was on the hot seat like 12 or 14 games ago? How crazy is that?
When we were 2-2, he was on the hot seat. He was. We started off 2-2. That's high expectations. Jalen Hurts is 2 Super Bowl appearances with 1 Super Bowl MVP. You got to start talking about him in the top 5, top 10, top 5 quarterback conversation.
If you get one more MVP, did you know that no matter what the rest of your career was, your first ballot?
Hell yeah.
Apparently not. He didn't get in. Apparently not.
There's an exception.
But I thought, wanted to kind of go over some things. I thought this was. We always talk about our GMs. We talk about Howie, and my analogy with Howie is playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers. So Howie was able to take Carson Wentz's contract, spin it to the Colts for a 2021 third-round pick and a 2022 conditional second-round pick, what ended up being a first-round pick. He then spun those 2 picks and drafted Devontae Smith, traded for A.J. Brown, drafted Jalen Carter, and drafted Cooper DeJean. So thank you, Carson Wentz, for that return and comeback. So I want to thank Carson Wentz, thank
That's
Howie.
crazy. That's a lot.
And you know, Kenny Pickett, I want to thank him because Kenny Pickett has thrown more passes in a Super Bowl than Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Josh Herbert, Tua, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, and Dak all combined.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
Well, him too.
What
He's probably got a brother.
Josh Herbert.
Herbert.
I'm sorry, Herbert. I apologize. Yeah, he may have a brother. So, yes, the season was great. The game was great.
Look it up. Do you have a brother?
I don't know. I should look that up real quick. I will give Mahomes his little flowers with his second half yardage and his second half touchdowns. But we just dominated the game, and it was great to see. I still, at halftime, did not think it was real. Back of my mind, on my right shoulder was Chris. You're going to choke. You're going to choke.
You choked a double-digit lead. I wanted to say that so bad. I was thinking about it.
Lord help me.
So you were actually thinking about me. I am doing my job. All right.
I didn't text anybody.
I didn't bother nobody. And I know. I appreciate it. If you would have lost,
my God.
if you lost, I wouldn't have bothered you.
You would have bothered me.
No, I promised. I promised. I wasn't going to do it. Dude, I lost. When we lost to the Ravens, I was sick for 3 days. It sucks. It sucks. We just lost 2 years ago. It sucks. It's the worst feeling.
It sucks. It is a bad feeling.
Yeah. And since I'm yapping, I'm going to take this time to say I gave you a lot of shit. Congratulations, buddy. I'm very happy for you, not the Eagles. I hate them. But you're a diehard fan. We're all diehard fans. That's the whole point of this community and this bannering podcast. It would be dumb for me to come on here week after week and agree with you. I'm going to stick up for my Giants. I do respect people being a man of their word, Randy. That's why I support my Giants. That's why I support my quarterbacks. That's why I support my team. I'm loyal. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave you alone till next year.
No, you won't. You're lying.
Yeah, I mean, I am. I'm going to you got your flowers, but once we get our quarterback.
We already got into it 5 minutes before the show started. So
not even going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I still had an opinion, and I'm not even going to ruin it tonight on that. Everybody has to give it's our last episode, and it was a great year. It sucks.
You suck, and here's why you suck.
We'll talk about it.
You've ruined the entire football season.
You suck.
You've ruined it all, every single bit of it. And let me run down because of all of your anti-bird stuff, which is great. We all feel the same way, but you got to shut your face. So here's what you accomplished as a New York Giants.
So real quick, before you do his whole list, it's my fault they won the Super Bowl?
Yes. Actually, yes.
Now,
if you just shut your mouth like 6 weeks ago, we would have probably been okay.
Let's hear your list, buddy.
And we probably would have.
You were happy when I started getting opinionated and getting on him. You were like, man.
So here's your season in Rewind. It's a season for the ages. So you're forced to cut your $160 million gem of a quarterback. You went 3-14. You blew the first
I know what you're doing
in
here.
Week 17.
Worst year ever.
Franchise record losing streak.
Worst year ever.
Saquon runs for 2K, leads the division rival to a Super Bowl, and then wins the whole damn Super Bowl. Like, all of that is you. I don't blame.
Eli didn't make the Hall of Fame.
If I were Eli and he knew that, he should have sent you a glitter bomb.
I was so happy when it was over.
Because that's absolutely ridiculous.
We talked. We're good.
No, we
talked. He's good. He's fine.
Doesn't matter.
He's
you deserve an ingrown toenail more than
he's
anybody I've ever met in my entire life.
It's stupid. He deserved to be
an ingrown toenail more than anybody I've ever seen.
What? An ingrown toenail.
Hey, that's what happened with Don Wampler our senior year of basketball. Remember that?
Yeah, he had to he had to soak his foot in sauce and then Wes cut him.
So there were a couple of things from this game which I did not enjoy. So literally we went like 6 months and then culminated with a game that I didn't even finish watching. My wife and son wanted to stay up and watching most of it just so they didn't miss any of the commercials. I didn't even do that. Yes, it was not. And the halftime show wasn't all that great. My 10-year-old knew more of the songs than I did.
Ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. But there was, of course, that would come from Randy. He's obviously one of those ones that's in that meme. I'm never watching football again. It's the worst halftime show ever. Proud Boys for life.
No, I'm not. But it was a bad halftime show.
He wants you two next year.
Since we're talking about Pat Mahomes Sr., and I know that Chris likes to say that his team wins a championship or repeats every 10 years. Well, so does Pat Mahomes Sr. In every decade for the last 3, he's gotten a DUI. So he's got one in 2008, 18, and now 24. Wow. And I didn't know if anybody knew this, but there is somebody that did complete the three-peat with this. Darian Kennard was on the Chiefs the last 2 years, so he three-peated, technically.
I thought you were talking about Greg's three-peat.
No, that meant nothing to me. No.
Classic
Darian Kennard. No. Three-peat. He was a lineman for the Chiefs the last 2 years, and then now he's with the Eagles. The only thing... I mean, trust me, you were talking about Howie Roseman. I was looking. They had a thing on ESPN today. And I do think you're not going to be as good next year because you, again, just like... hey, look, just calm down. Calm down. Stop. You'll get your freaking whatever Chris calls it. Like, you still got some more people that are probably going to retire. You're going to be leaning on the young guys to not lose their minds and, turn into the character issue people they thought people were. I wasn't going there, but I was going to say, like, if you look at it, like, I've been praising... Yeah.
Hold on, Chris. You lasted all but 5 minutes of not riding Greg about his
I've
team.
I've praised the Cowboys before for how that they draft. Like when they were drafting people. Paul. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, even finding Zeke when they did before. I mean, they've found in CD, they draft really well. But if you look at Howie, it's not even just like the wheeling and dealing behind. Just the people that they get are like freaking gems. Like, why is Cooper DeJean good? He can't even get a handshake at a Lakers game from LeBron as the entire team gets like dapped up and slipped an autograph. And he's just like,
Side story, he actually called him last night and apologized.
LeBron did? I mean, he got blown up. And it was embarrassing. Like, he literally has had his hand up. And he's just like, all right.
I was fine.
Yep. Because he looks just
some
like
average dude sitting there, He does look like that. He doesn't look like some super athlete.
When he got that pick, which was awesome, him on the sideline with his helmet off, I think that's the first time I've seen. He looks like a little kid. He looks like he's like 18, 16, like he's
probably 21.
He's like 22,
He's 20. Yeah, he's 22. Just
and I don't want to rag on anybody, but I do think your defense, not taking away from Hurts' game, but seriously, your defense, I feel like your defense could have won the MVP, or he could have, or Sweat could have, or your defensive line could have. I mean, they dominated the game. There was no pressure on Hurts because of your defense. Like, once it was 24-0, all Hurts had to do is stand behind the best line.
You can stop your retreat.
He threw 22
stop
passes.
Your retreat.
I mean, it's 72 yards.
Stop your retreat.
Look,
the only person I was happy for in that game, Mekhi Becton, he's from Richmond. There's only like 2 notable players from Richmond in the NFL. One's on the Redskins, and then there's Mekhi Becton. So I felt okay for him. And you might actually get him back next year. One record I think you're going to need to. I mean, I think you're going to lose Brandon Graham, and there could be some other decent players that you might have to try and find a replacement for. Unfortunately, you got Howie Roseman. Yeah, unfortunately, you got Howie Roseman.
We'll talk about that second half.
I was just going to say, what Howie's track record is in the draft the past couple years on his first, second, and third round picks. I think pretty damn good.
You actually had Devontae Smith breaking one of the craziest records I've ever seen in my entire life. The first player drafted out of Alabama to ever score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. The only one ever. All these stupid quarterbacks have never, Jalen Hurts technically came from Oklahoma. That's where he was drafted out of. But of all the players ever in the history of football, he's the only one out of 59 Super Bowls from Alabama, drafted out of Alabama, to ever score a touchdown. I think that's unfathomable.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't see how that's even... Sure.
They've been a factory for
players. Decades. Like, it only takes one. You're not looking... I mean, they got receivers all over receivers, running backs, all over the league, and even defensive players to run one back. So I thought that was the most amazing thing. But I got to tell you, Greg, it's a 2-man race for the next couple of years, I think. Until we RG3 this thing up, I think it's a 2-man race, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I mean, I don't know.
I really think we're doing just one half. I think we're just going to keep rolling.
Next season's going to be very interesting.
By the way, I think I just read that besides possibly being high on the projected list for Myles Garrett, also high on the list to get Deebo Samuel.
Well, I would be careful about the high on the list because we're also high on the list for Garrett as well. And we do have a defensive end that is a pretty Pro Bowl capable defensive end that didn't even play for us this year. And we have a first round draft pick that we're willing to give up. I think that would fit very well.
I'm just going to say no.
So, I don't know, Greg. I looked through you guys' roster. and in the next year and a half, you guys are going to have a lot of guys that are high star caliber guys that are going to want paid. I don't know. I don't know if adding probably a top defensive player in the league is really in the cards.
Are there any prospects who are the prospects to replace Kellen Moore right now? Is it something internal?
So from what I'm hearing, either possibly internal or the word on the street is possibly Frank Reich coming back.
That would make a lot of sense.
He is an older coach that does not want to be a head coach again. And that way him and Fangio can work, obviously, offense and defense under Nick and be solid for 2 to 3 straight years. Because think about it. We've lost an OC or a DC every year the last 3 years. Gannon was our DC that we lost in the last Super Bowl. We had Matt Patricia as our DC last year, who was like in between, and then we've just lost Kellen now. So we keep losing either a DC or an OC. Fangio's not going anywhere. He'll be around. And you team him with a good OC, someone who's a little older that doesn't want to be a head coach. I think the next 5 years we can make a run. I hear you, Randy, but that's what Howie's job is. Howie's job is to extend people, to make the money work.
No, and I know, Greg, but eventually the check comes due. And I mean, you look at Eagles, look at the Eagles 2 or 3 years from now. Look at salary cap. The Eagles are
salary cap keeps going up, man.
By far at the bottom in 3 years.
Yeah, but the way he's working in deals,
you can't look at it that way.
I think it's tough for any of you to argue with Greg on salary cap issues. I mean, other than maybe Paul, who's got a crap load of cap because his team's just not as stacked with studs as you guys. But Randy, your cap is a mess.
Yeah,
Chris,
I know.
Chris, your GM, Joe Shine, ought to be fired after saying that you can't pay a quarterback and Saquon at the same time.
Yeah, but our situation isn't that bad.
Yeah, Chris, your situation is by far the worst. It's
absolutely the worst.
And I mean,
no, our situation money-wise is not as bad as it was when he first
I think in a couple of years you may see Jalen Carter's like, I want to be the number one. You're going to see AJ Brown say, I want to be the number one. That's what I think you might be right. You might end up being the Cowboys.
Right, but he drafts well.
It's not only on defense, but your offense. Like, you guys are going to have so many players that deserve to be paid and want to be paid. Again, not all of them are going to be team players. That you're going to have some Dak Prescotts that want those huge contracts. Yeah. I don't know. You guys are already in a year from now salary cap nightmares. And 2 years from now, you guys are the worst salary cap in the league. By far.
So here's the thing, Randy, and this is the difference between your GM and our GM. Our GM will sign a player like we'll sign Bond this year, and we'll give him a 5-year deal. We'll give him the deal early. That's a bad example. So we may look at Mulatto and restructure Jordan Mulatto's contract. He's one of the best left tackles in the league. We'll restructure him. Lane Johnson has 2 or 3 years left. We'll restructure that contract. So he'll get them a year or two before we need to. Zach Bond is a special teams player who almost won Defensive Player of the Year. We find these players and find
rugby players. It's not a football player.
Jordan Mulatto was a rugby player.
Mm-hmm.
We drafted
rugby, right?
I'm saying is it's all a certain amount of millions to players. You can restructure, reformat, and get yourself out of problems all you want. But again, like the Giants, like Cleveland, you're kicking the problem down the road. And I know you're saying our GM's going to fix us, all that. That sounds like a banker's or a car salesman saying, don't worry about the high car price. Worry about that down the road. Oh, it's never a problem.
Yeah, but see, the way he gets out of it, like you said, he spun Wentz's contract and turned all those picks. I mean,
he's been doing it for over 10 years.
Yeah, it ain't like he just started doing it a year or two ago.
Eventually, you got to pay the piper, and the piper's coming.
And that's, I mean, listen.
That's what the Cowboys are starting to do right now.
I sat here all last year, your offensive line's going to suck. Kelsey's retiring. You have no one that can fill his shoes. Oh, he did a pretty good job.
I was 100% wrong about that. Yep. But I'm not the one arguing about it. It's him. Yeah. So where we at? Where we at, host?
I was going to ask Randy, you got anything else? We are going to take a quick break.
Yeah,
but you got anything else you want to?
I'm going to start with a little story. My wife's always wanted to go to the ruins of Angkor Wat, Cambodia. So Super Bowl night, yeah, of course. Super Bowl, she's actually there right now. She left at 4 this morning. Anyway, Super Bowl night, I'm in Phnom Penh, 12 hours off. So the Super Bowl's at 6:30. So I wake up at 4 o'clock when all the drunks are coming back, jump in a tuk-tuk to a little sports bar I found opening up early for the Super Bowl.
Got stamps all over his arm.
Show the guy my phone. Show him where we're going. He starts going. It's about a 15-minute drive. We get down this dark alley. I'm waking up, still drinking coffee, whatever. Get down this dark alley, and he asked for my phone again, and I gave it to him, and he threw it out of the tuk-tuk, which I jumped out to grab, and this is what I grabbed that he threw out. This is a busted-up phone. As I realized it, I heard the tuk-tuk taking off. And so I don't have a phone. I don't know where the hell I am. I don't have anything.
My God. Is that your phone you found?
No, that's just one he taped up.
It was a decoy.
It's a decoy. So all that being said was I was supposed to be watching the football game getting half lit up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I was trying to turn off my apps and call the police and make sure everything's disconnected. So I didn't get to watch as much of the Super Bowl as I wanted to. I was a little distracted, pretty irritated too. But all that being said, a couple takeaways I have to say is I agree with Chris. You guys' defense was phenomenal. I mean, I wouldn't even say Jalen played that great of a game. Obviously, Saquon didn't, but your guys' defense was
Hurts played a good game, but he
didn't play a bad game, but it wasn't a 400-yard.
17 for 20. It was 17 for 22.
17 for 22.
Sure.
17 yards rushing.
Rating and QBR were pretty high as well.
All I'm saying, it wasn't
like 119.
Okay? Listen, all I'm saying is this goes to my point. As I look down your defensive list, you guys are trying to put Myles Garrett in there. I'm like, who the heck are you going to take out to throw Myles Garrett even in? I mean, you got to take out a stud just to put him in. My point to you guys are going to have to pay people is there's a lot of big names on that defense. Point number 2 is
3 of them are leaving.
I would love to say, and I do feel like, but there was never a Super Bowl that I felt like Brady was down and out in. I felt like he would readjust, even when he had a far lesser team, he would readjust and come in, and they would at least make every game competitive.
Being a commentator in this game,
down by
absolutely loving it.
I'm sure.
How happy was he?
Did you hear the side smirk comment when he's like, "Oh, he threw another interception"?
So stop everybody trying to crown the next goat. Which, I mean, if there's one small consolation for the Eagles winning is we at least shut that down for a little bit. We're not going to have. I mean, I think the stadium and whoever knew they showed Taylor Swift once. It didn't go over well, and never showed her again, and that was perfect.
Yeah,
they booed her. Yep,
he's already almost matched Brady for interceptions in all Brady's Super Bowls. I mean, Brady's numbers in the Super Bowls are again. I know this was if he would have won, we would be singing a totally different song. But like, you just never seen Brady, even with garbage. I don't want to say garbage teams, but far less talent than they're playing against. Brady always found a way at the line of scrimmage to change the game. And he did it over and over again. There was never a Super Bowl that the one he played against, was it the Eagles or the Giants? They never even punted the ball.
That was the Eagles. He only had 14 points with us. We shut him down.
Eagles. He never even punted the ball. I mean, it was just a totally different game. The one thing, I'm not – obviously he's probably the best quarterback in our era. But boy, he is not playing up to Tom Brady.
But if Mahomes would have won 4 out of 5 and 3 in a row, that would have been. I mean, but most likely get back again.
Last thing I'll say about the game is watching Pat Mahomes out there. I now understand why the Bears took Mitch Trubisky. That's it. I understand and I get it now.
So, one other comment, and again, I think it's easy to pick on a winning quarterback and look at the calls against or for them that maybe could have gone either way and say, oh, they're getting a lot of calls. I don't think after watching this Super Bowl, you can say the Chiefs get all the calls. And I think that was one takeaway from this game. I look at
the greatest thing was if you saw the Pat Mahomes highlights, the first highlight was when the score was 34-0.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my takeaways.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll have a real quick second half. Looking forward to a little off-season in 2025, and then we'll be out of here for the off-season.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. Just a few quick reminders for everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And check out our fellow podcaster, Jim Montgomery, with This Day in Philly Sports History. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Clashing Conferences podcast, NFC or Clashing Conferences Network. I got to get used to this.
There it is.
NFC East podcast is back for our last little segment until we get to the draft episode, which will be coming up soon.
I finished the sentence for him,
Mike,
though.
you're reconnecting, buddy.
My screen froze.
This is normally the segment where we talk about the draft and what we think is going to be happening here in the for the new year coming up. We'll give Chris a little bit of time to talk. There have been some rumblings, good things rumbling from the Giants.
Nobody right now.
About some newcomers coming in. I think we've heard.
I'm
maybe a combo coming in. Unfortunately, we can't.
Maybe a combo.
Can you see me again?
We can hear you. Paul held the fort down a little bit.
All right. Apologize about that.
No
Keep
worries,
going, Paul. You're good. You're prepared to host the
championship spot.
You're getting prepared to host the champions competition.
2 of these chode smokers on it too. I can't wait. So yeah, Chris. I mean, if you want to get us started, I know there's been some things. Right. Maybe some people moving out east, possibly.
We got some things, some grumbling. We did hire. We've hired an assistant QB
Matthew
coach.
Stafford.
What are the brother-in-law of Matt Stafford? I know it's a little crazy. A couple weeks ago, neighbors tweeted out the big eyes, the Ram, the 9 to 10 come this way thing. They asked him. He says Shane's talking to him. He's obviously the most exciting piece on our team. What do you want to see? What's your hopes for the future? He's not super sold on a rookie quarterback. The rumor is, man, that there's a chance that we could be maybe he opts out of his contract. We can bring Matt Stafford in. I know we got the 3rd pick overall. I am not sold on really anybody. I do like a couple of the other guys in the later rounds.
They end up being drafted,
like Dart.
And then then it's instant love.
Well,
then you love them.
It's not the.
Instantly they become a
I
top
will be
player in the
loyal.
NFL.
The only thing you're loyal to is your delusionalism.
And I'll give him a chance. But the thing, it's not that. It's fandom. But the thing is, I don't want to trade up. I've heard rumors that we might really like one of these guys. If one falls on our lap, we would do it. If you really think one of them is the guy, you have to do it.
I keep seeing that quarterback won't go 1 or 2, and you guys will get your choice.
I think Shador is not a good choice. I think Shador is he's going the wrong direction.
I think Dable likes him, and I kind of like Cam, and that's where I'm like, look, take Carter, trade back, do something like that. Maybe trade back, get more picks. Like, you're not going to take one of them guys in Stafford. but you might take somebody late first, early second in Stafford, let him sit behind Stafford for a year or two. We have the money, we can sign him. There is a rumor that Kupp and him want to stay together. I don't think it would be a bad idea.
Just a second coming of the exciting Whites?
I don't know. It's exciting. I got a lot to look forward to.
Old man edition?
I think it makes us instantly relevant. I think it makes us relevant.
No,
We're
not really.
like Super Bowl contenders or anything.
I mean, I would say that's the best.
But he's a guaranteed. He's like, you know what you're getting with Matt Stafford. You can bring him in. He can elevate our team. Yeah, I think you are. He's still got a cannon.
What do you get? You get a 37-year-old overpaid quarterback.
Dude, he played you guys better than Pat Mahomes played you in the playoffs this year. He's still a good quarterback.
I agree with that.
I think he's better than any quarterback that's been on the Giants roster. And
I still think he's better than Dak Prescott. I still think he's going to kill me for this. I still think he's better than Jalen Hurts.
I think he's better. He's better than Eli.
Listen, and I would take.
And Jesus!
And we were arguing about this earlier. We were earlier because he's 37 years old. No, me and my buddies on another group chat. They wanted me to get Trey. Trey's one of them. My buddy Aaron. He's a big bird fan.
Can you possibly be a part of and active?
Me and Steven, listen, me and Steven hung out the other night. I'm like, dude, this is what I do. I got ones with my nephews. I'm trying to get people to join and watch the podcast.
So you honestly think a 38-year-old Matt Stafford is a better quarterback?
It's almost like another team in New York had that same theory a couple years ago, and that didn't go well.
I wouldn't take him at this point for the longevity of the career. At this point, no, it would be better to take Jalen Hurts. But Matt Stafford wouldn't be our future quarterback forever. He would be a bridge. He makes us relevant, dude. We were a laughingstock, worst year ever, 100-year. All this crap happened.
He makes you relevant.
He makes us instantly relevant.
I agree with that.
Instantly. And we could win 8, 9, 10 games with him, maybe. You never know. I don't know, but that's my only hope right now.
That's a shame, man. It would suck to be a fan of a team.
Why is that a shame?
It would suck to be a fan of a team where your hope is you win 8 games. Like that's
we just won 4. That would be a great turnaround.
But you want to be better team than that, right?
Right, and I think it's better to draft. Like, you want to take a guy you're not sure of.
I mean, if I were the Giants, I would have drafted Jaden Daniels last year. Then you could have had, Why is that?
They couldn't draft him. They won too many games. They won 3 games in a row.
2 years in a row.
With
You just
DeVito,
can't do it.
and then they won that last game of the season.
You could have had Jaden Daniels throw into Travis Hunter this year if you weren't dumb.
This year did not hurt us. This year didn't hurt winning that Colts game, obviously.
All right, so you want Stafford and whatchamacallit, Cooper Kupp.
I don't really care.
I'm sure Cooper Kupp and Neighbors would just mesh just so well together. They're like the same person.
I know Neighbors. Welcomed. I think Neighbors is a class. He's going to be. You guys think he's going to be a head case? He's not. Neighbors is going to be all right. I like Neighbors.
All right. Well, content manager is yawning away, so I think that's enough Giants talk. We're trying to keep this second half short. Let's go over to Randy and the Cowboys. What are you looking forward to in the offseason next year?
I want to jump back again 5 or 6 weeks ago when I asked the question of who has the brighter future, and I think most of you said the Giants. But I just heard Paul today say, what did you say, Paul? Today? You said something about you have – anyway. All that
being said, him and the Eagles are going to be the 1 and 2 for the next couple of years.
I don't know. It was something else.
Sounds like the new Chris.
But all that being said, okay, I sit here now. Yeah, I mean, we got salary cap issues. I'm worried.
He's finally pulling for his team.
Players to sign this year. We are a good drafting team. I don't think we're way off of having enough talent to be competitive, but it's going to be tough until other quarterbacks are paid. Don't even say it. Until other quarterbacks and receivers are paid what Dak and CD are paid. It's going to be tough for us to be able to
look at Paul every time you say it.
Go in and buy talent. And that's, I guess, so to me, my hope is we have a good draft pick. I know there is a lot of talk about making some moves. I hope we can make cuts on some of
baby.
Lawrence has missed a lot of time the last 2 years. I feel like maybe it's time to part ways with him. I know he's a great player, but what could we get for him? What is the options out there? looking at places like that, where is value that we could lose some salary cap? I don't even really care about a trade, but maybe get a trade or a pick or two from. What are some of these bigger name players? Is there a way to ditch Dak? I hear
Trade
more and
Parsons.
more of that. Is there
You're
a
not-
way
you're
to
not ditching
give it
Dak.
to a team like the Giants that
Yeah, but see,
got lots of
so you're.
picks that they need to use up?
I'm just glad your GM
I
is
was
such
going
a
to say, it's
visionary,
like,
Randy,
but
that
you're
you're in a
not.
good
No
spot.
one's
You'll
saying
be
that
fine.
you're going to be in a rebuild, but you're definitely in a retool. You're retooling while
All those glory
we're
holes.
building up. Like we're loading up. You're retooling while we're loading up, and the Eagles pretty much just have to stay stagnant, and that's probably going to be okay.
Yeah, but Paul, I have one thing that
Jerry
gives me
dies.
hope, and that is the Washington Commanders.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Jerry's
Washington
got another year
Commanders
older.
From last year to this year, went from worst to second best. If it weren't for the Eagles, best. I mean, if that doesn't give any team hope, that should give us all hope. So,
Well, I
Yeah,
can tell
I
you
don't
what.
know. Not a whole lot
Jerry would have to
hopes and
die
promises.
because that's what happened. Our owner was forced to sell the team. Jerry will never sell the team,
I don't know.
so Jerry has to die. By the
put
transit
together
property,
Super Bowl win-
Jerry Jones has to
Jerry's
die
put
for you to be
together-
able to do that.
Jer- Jerry's
And then
put
you
together
got to deal with
Super Bowl winning
Steven
rosters
Jones,
many
who's probably
times
going
before.
to be even dumber than his dad. So that's not going to help the situation.
I don't know. Jerry Jones has put together Super Bowl winning rosters before. He's put together very good teams before. I'm not
No,
saying he's
it's a
the
different
best.
world out there
I'm
now.
gonna argue that. I'm gonna say Jimmy Johnson. I'm gonna say Jimmy Johnson was the reason he built those teams, was the leader of them teams. Then they screwed him, and Barry Switzer rode his off his back for another year or two. But other than that, you
Yeah,
haven't
just
won.
wait till Schottenheimer's coming around.
Can we all point out that happened in 1996?
Yeah,
He wasn't a
He don't
fan
even
then.
know.
Just
I don't
saying.
even know.
He was a fan.
We've all agreed it doesn't matter
I
when
don't
it
even think he
happens. A
watched
win's
them.
a win.
Yeah, he didn't see Romo and them tight pants yet. He
You
didn't.
can only
he
win the
didn't even
games
know
in
that.
front of you, and the game in front of us was in 1996.
Yeah, so
You can only
technically, I
win
don't
the
give
games
Jerry
that are in
Jones
front of
credit for
us.
nothing except for the
You
money
got
he's made, and he
3 more
sucks.
to catch up to. You're a little behind, buddy.
Listen, we're relevant.
We're
and
relevant
that's all
now, and that's all that matters
I like
until
it.
it doesn't.
I'm
I'll
loving
be
it.
alive.
You guys are both relevant. Let's slide over to one of you who wants to argue about who's getting Myles Garrett
Not
first.
the Eagles. Not the
Go
Eagles.
ahead,
I
Paul.
literally don't care where he goes, just not
I
to the
did
Eagles.
see the skins.
So
It could. There are a lot of people
That's how I
talking
felt
about how it
about
could be
Saquon.
the
but
Eagles.
literally
I've seen
anywhere
it as
else
well.
I would
Anywhere
prefer,
else.
for sure. But I would love to have Myles Garrett more than I would like to have Deebo Samuel. I'm the prospects of that I saw today don't make me all that happy because he's somebody that could, I wouldn't say kill the culture, but he could impact the culture in a negative way. I think we got a good culture going on. Myles Garrett's a good guy. Myles Garrett is a team player. He cares about players. He cares about people.
Yes.
All of that. So, I mean, he's somebody I think that could mesh with our team well, and we'd have even more camaraderie, and we need that dog on the defense. I mean, I need somebody for Frankie Louvu to springboard off of so he can actually get to Hurts on the push.
You do need it on that side of the ball. You need that dog. But you need
and to
another
be
weapon
honest,
for
I'm not
Daniels,
really
too.
worried about that. I
So-
think it's going to happen because for the first time in 30 years, now people want to be there. I think we got a chance
Draft?
at some free agents. Free agents want to come there
you
too.
got money.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would love to have to.
T. Higgins.
Can you afford Miles and Debo?
They got a lot of money.
I wouldn't
They can
necessarily
afford anything
put
they
it on
want.
Yeah.
Debo because I also don't want him, as versatile as he is, I don't want him to mess up what we got in the running game and things like that. And I don't want AJ Brown out there. He's kind of like an AJ Brown, where you saw in the Super Bowl, AJ Brown and Sirianni had a moment for a minute. Obviously, it all got worked out pretty quick,
He had
and then
a
they did the
moment,
stupid
yeah.
book trick again. But it all got worked out, and they made a joke about it. How T.O. and McNabb used to joke about their stuff. But there was, but you got to be careful with
passionate.
that. You got to be
That's
careful
good.
that doesn't get out of hand.
That's a good way to look at it. Positive spin, Greg. Positive
And
spin.
we were careful about that. That happened earlier in the season, and we shut it down. It came up again later in the season. It was shut down, and then it had 20 seconds in the Super Bowl and was shut down.
Like, as long as we have role players on our team that keep shutting it down, we're good.
The only negative is that's happening when you're winning. Just wait and see what happens when you're losing, and that happens.
Listen, when you got a talented team, that we may never know. We'll see.
How have you not floated away?
When you had a bad listen last year, you had some issues, and
we did.
like, and it goes bad really quick in that environment.
Yes,
but winning cures everything. And
again, the GM did a heck of a job this offseason of patching up those holes. You can't argue with that. I mean,
I'm not arguing
their defense was awful at
the
end of last year.
But
what did Howie do? He went and reshaped that entire secondary. He signed a linebacker. He patched he didn't just he drafted two what looks like future
Sirianni
stud quarterbacks.
Sirianni should be thanking Howie Roseman for his extension he's about to get too.
Out of nowhere.
Not just the players.
And you know why he drafted those cornerbacks? Because he's a GM that's playing chess. He sees that Darius Slay is coming up on a contract. We're not going to re-sign Slay at $20 million a year when you got Q and Cooper DeJean as your other two cornerbacks that are making almost league minimum. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So I look at this. I look at the Garrett signing or the possibility of the Garrett signing. I see Bryce Huff making $15 million a year as a stud DN who plays the wide nine technique. We signed him before Vic Fangio came in. We can't use him. So I say we trade him and a first-round draft pick for Garrett. No other team is going to give them a first-round draft pick for Garrett, in my opinion, or be willing to do that. So if we give them a stud first-round draft pick and a pick itself, I think we land him. I think the reason that I think we're going to try to get him is because Sweat's coming up as a free agent. Milton Williams is coming up. So there's two. And
Sweat's going to want paid after that Super Bowl performance.
But he did. But you know what?
Sweat I'm saying he's going to want it. So
he said money is important, but it's not everything. I love it here. My family loves it here. And we'll talk. So he's willing to take less money. So if you can re-sign him, I think our keys are in offense. We have two people coming up on contract that are free agents. We have Kenny G, which I don't think we're going to re-sign, our backup running back, because we have Shipley, and we'll draft another one in the third or fourth round. We also have Mekhi Becton, who we have to re-sign. He is a stud guard who no one ever gave him a chance to play guard. He is a right tackle that was labeled a bust. And our Jeff Stoutland said, listen, I'm going to move you to right guard. We're going to try it and see how you do. Now he's an all-pro right guard. So I think we need to focus on him and Zach Bond as an inside linebacker. We have Nakobe Dean, who's going to be coming back from injury. We have Trotter Jr., but I think Bond he's a stud, and I think he needs to be our inside linebacker. We either re-sign Sweat or Milton Williams, one of those two, and then we go after Garrett. Maddox is gone. Slay is going to be off the books. And Isaiah Rodgers is a free agent as well, so let him test the market. You have your starters back with Cooper and Q, and you got Reed Blankenship. So you're really going to lose, at the most, you're going to lose one or two starters next year. And everyone else is signed up for the next 5 years. And it's just it's exciting. It's great to know that you got a GM that's in front of things and is willing to not wait until the last minute to sign somebody, especially when it's a franchise quarterback or a franchise player. We're always going to be renewing their contracts instead of waiting to the last minute and having to pay more money. Jerry Jones.
Makes a lot of sense to me. I'm hoping one of those players you lose, though, is going to the Bears. Been eyeing up one of your, I think Becton is the one I've been seeing rumors about.
So we're staying put. Oh, and by the way, I just want to do a shout out to all those Eagle fans out there. Crystal, go Birds, baby! We are back. We're going to start this dynasty right now. Let's go.
There it is. You say it, Mike.
Got props, got your flowers.
That seems like some dumb shit.
I think that's a good way to go out to the offseason. I was not going to say that's that dumb shit. So, we will go out with that, and we will. I think we'll be back for a draft episode, but we're looking forward to 2025, 2026 at this point. We will be back soon. Thank you, everybody.